I hope
Ron,
so.
I mean, Ron, I think, is probably still in Florida.
Okay.
If nobody else comes, you have it?
And I have the online,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I just put in a note that will be starting shortly there. Let me just run it across the phone.
They have onion bagels there and everything that is, but no onion roll. I don't think.
Well, I'm gonna go with a regular roll then. Collard rolls are good.
Mm-hmm.
No complaint.
And the stuff isn't, I thought it would be stale, but it's not.
It's from yesterday morning. It was fresh yesterday morning.
Ah.
So, and this particular tuna platter was never opened. So
Mm-hmm. So is that the scholarship breakfast?
yes, from the scholarship breakfast.
I mailed my stepdaughter, it's finally available in the supermarkets, a Lech bar, which she can't, I don't think she can get up in Gloversville, New York.
Right.
And she was telling me how much she
Well,
loved it.
you can basically make it yourself. It's pretty easy. You just get the prune pie filling from the baking aisle,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can add a few kind of spices to it. You can make your own Lech bar.
Yeah, but she's not gonna do that.
It's a lot of work for her. Okay.
I mean, she's capable
All right.
of it. She used to be a cook in a cafeteria and a hospital and whatever until she became a manager.
Right. Well, I hate to say it, but and there's no insult intended, but most traditional Jewish cooking does not take very much skill.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's a lot of slow cooking on fire for Shabbos and things like that. Nope, that's water. There we go, coffee. All right, and I don't see my markers, which is the bigger problem. But I have no way to write on the board behind me.
Huh?
So, hey Siri, text Gary Rothschild. No.
Do you want me to run down and get some?
No, I'm just going to text Gary.
It's too bad there's no mustard. You could write mustard. That would wash off. Okay.
Okay. All right. Here we go. So when last we met, I apologized for last week, but my son's chin hit a desk and required stitches. Hello, Ron.
Oh, you're back.
How are you? Welcome.
It's all fresh food from yesterday.
It's better than fresh from Shabbos. That'd be 2 days old, a day older. Okay, we are in chapter 3 of Sanhedrin, and let's do a little bit of a quick review. If you go back to on 27a, beautiful. Any idea where they are?
Yeah, right here.
Oh, okay.
My fault.
Great, thank you very much. They got squirreled away because of burn?
Yeah.
Great, thank you, I appreciate that, thank you. Okay, on 27A, we had, how do we do this to make this work? That way, okay.
A what? A what number?
27A2.
27A.
8-2.
Okay?
A2.
We had, I'm going to try and block the glare out here for us. Okay, on 27A2, we had a story where there was a, 27A1. On 27A1, Abaye and Rava had been arguing about what this Torah verse, you shall not lend your hand with a Russia, as a witness. Okay, so you have this Torah verse, Al Tashet Yadcha, Im Rasha La'ed, and so Abaye and Rava were having a little bit of a to-do about this, Abaye and Rava, okay? And we were arguing about what it means to be a Rasha and what it means to have declared that you cannot have a Rasha give testimony with you in a case before the court. So on 27A1, the question is, once somebody has, we were talking about someone who has been disqualified as a Rasha, can you work with him ever again? All right, so we put that with Eid Zomem. And the question was, we learned specifically what an Eid Zomem is. That's somebody who's been disqualified against the testimony they already gave, that they could not possibly have been a witness to the event because they weren't there. So you bring other witnesses to prove that one or both of these guys are lying witnesses, and they become Eid Zomem. When someone is an Eid Zomem, can they be believable on other testimony? Right? Are they just disqualified for that one case? Or are they now a Rasha, a person who cannot be a witness in any case? And that becomes an issue, because what if they gave the testimony last spring and they're on 100 documents since then? Right? So they went through this whole thing about whether it's retroactive, whether it's ever since. That's really not our concern moving forward. But what they did do is the Gemara said, what's the difference between Rav and Abaye? Rav and Abaye disagreed on the question of kind of money and robbery. These two sets testified. One, alternatively, the second set disqualified the first because of robbery. Then on 27A2, we got this case of Rabbi Yirmiyah from Difti, who said that Rav Papi ruled according to Rava. So we saw a case where the halacha was like Rava, but Marbar Rav Ashi said that the halacha follows Abaye. So they had to try and figure out who's got the halacha in this case, Abaye or Rava. So they brought a case, and on 27A2, they brought a case about the guy who eats treif. And we were having a hard time figuring out the logic of this, because there's two motivations why the guy might eat the treif. One, for his own gratification. So he's breaking a rule where he's doing something forbidden, and it might be offensive to God, who told him not to do this. Now, our natural inclination is to think there's nothing worse than offending God, right? And the other case would be maybe he's just doing it lehach'is. So on 27A2 on the left, we have Mumar ochel nevelot l'te'avon divrei hakol pasul. A renegade, somebody who's rejected Judaism, he's a heretic, who was Jewish, who's eating unslaughtered meat for gratification. Everyone agrees he's disqualified. He is pasul le'edut. However, lehach'is, if he does it not for te'avon, but to just tick people off, right? Abaye Amar Pasul, Abaye says he's disqualified. Rava says he's still kosher. And the logic is, Abaye Amar Pasul, he's disqualified, Dehavale Rasha. Because by doing this, by eating this trait, like he walks up and he eats the bacon double cheeseburger in front of you, in public, specifically in front of you, to mock kashrut and tick you off, right? Now that's it's an offense between people. It's not just his own sin. It's a sin that now involves another person. That's actually larger than his own sin between him and God. Okay, so it's like a larger thing. Abai says it makes him a Rasha, and I would agree, once you're a Rasha, you can't be a witness. Okay, and the verse is going to be, Rachman Amar, God said in the Torah, Al Tashet Rasha Eid. A Rasha cannot be a witness. Now, the Rava Amar Kasher. Rava says, no, the guy who's doing it to tick you off like that, he's still a kosher witness. Rasha de Hamas ba'inan. Rava says that you need to have a monetary sin. Money has to be involved in order to be a Rasha. Right? So to be called a Rasha, your sin has to be money. Okay? So ticking you off, eating treif, these things are not money sins. Therefore, he's not a Rasha. Therefore, he's still a kosher witness, surprisingly. Meitvei. So now they, we don't know who they are, somebody in the Gemara Academy, is going to bring a baraita against Rava. Okay? And it's going to go like this. So let's just understand, because here's the logic. Abaye says, if you're a sinner, you're a Rasha. Rava says, if you're a monetary sinner, you're a Rasha. Okay? And they both agree that a Rasha is not a kosher witness. Right? So Rava has a limit on who is a Rasha. Okay, so they're going to challenge Rava, and they're going to say, Al Tashet Rasha Aid, Al Tashet Hamas Aid. One way to make Rava not correct is to prove that the text about being a Rasha is not about money. The best way to prove that that text is not about money is to quote another text which outlaws the money case. So it says, somewhere else in the Torah, Al Tashet Hamas Aid. A thief cannot be an aid. So if you have somewhere else that says a thief cannot be an aid, then this place that says a Rasha cannot be an aid can't be the same thing. It has to be something different, because the Torah doesn't waste ink. God doesn't stutter. God only says something once, according to rabbinic interpretation of the Torah. So if robbery is already outlawed as a witness, then Rasha has to be something else. Okay? So that would support Abaye. You don't need to be money. It can be all these other sins that can make you not kosher. All right? So Rav is in trouble. Until, so the Braita goes like this: Al Tashet Rasha Eid, Al Tashet Hamas Eid, Elo Gazlanin Umo'alin Bishavuot. So the Rasha category and the Hamas category are robbers and those who abuse oaths. So to be a Rasha would be somebody who abuses an oath. An oath is where you take the name of God to do something either wrong or stupid. Right? So to swear by God that a rock is taking God's name in vain, because you're swearing to something stupid. Right? To swear to God that a rock is gold, swear by God's name that a rock is gold, is false. So you're doing something false. So there's two different ways that you can take God's name in vain, by swearing something false or swearing something stupid. Okay? Either one of those would be included in a Rasha in the case. So, my lav echad shvuot shav echad shvuot mamon. So, is the category of those who abuse oaths not included in both an oath in vain and an oath regarding money? So, if so, that would disqualify an evildoer whose sin is not money, and that contradicts Rava. So, if you can have a Rasha is a shavua breaker or a shavua vain oath maker, that's not a monetary case, and therefore Abaye would seem to win. Lo, the Gemara says, nope, not necessarily. Idi ve'idi shvuat mamon. Both of the cases are money. The oath is concerning money in both cases. Umay shavuot. And why does it say shavuot? Shavuot de alma, oaths at large, and oaths at large, general oaths, the oaths that everybody swears are always about money. So, when it says shavuot, it means oaths about money. And it means robbery about money. And both cases are about money. So for Rava, for the person to be a Rasha, it has to be about money. Did we save Rava from the objection? Yes, the Gemara thinks that we've saved Rava from the objection. So, if Rava's right, then who's wrong?
Can you just go over a little bit what it means by Alma? I'm not understanding. at large. I mean, this seems...
The Alma means in general.
Okay, just in general. Okay.
Generally, oaths are about money.
Okay.
So when it says shavu, it doesn't say shavua shav, an oath in vain. It says shavuot,
Right, just
oaths, and oaths in general means money. Right? When was the last time you had to notarize an object that didn't have anything to do with money, even indirectly?
Right.
Always. It's always money. Even if it's a death certificate, it's about money. It's your residency requirement for the public school enrollment process, it's about money. Because the school gets money based on your being, and you're paying taxes and all that.
Get married.
Money. Okay, Gemara is now going to look at Abaye, because we saved Rava. So if Rava's right, Abaye's wrong. Meitve. So they're going to challenge Abaye from the same Baraita. Al tashet rasha aid, al tashet chamas aid. A witness can, you don't let a rasha be an aid, and you don't let a robber be an aid. Since the Baraita lists only people who transgress financial gain, based on our last interpretation, that's tiyuvta de Abaye tiyuvta. It's a good refutation of Abaye, who is well refuted. Tiyuvta de Abaye tiyuvta. Okay, so Abaye has been rejected. Rava has been accepted. A rasha, to be disqualified, has to be monetary. Now, we're going to go into, this is still review from last time. Who is the Eid Zomem? And does it matter if the Eid Zomem was in a capital case or was in a monetary case? Okay? Ron, why don't you read so I can take a bite of my sandwich? The Gemara attempts to identify the dispute.
The Gemara attempts to identify the dispute between Abaye and Rava with an earlier dispute among the Tanaim.
Name a katane.
Okay.
Shall we say that?
Nema Ketanye. Shall we say that the dispute between Abaye and Rava is in essence a dispute of Tanaim, for it was taught in the Braita, Eid Zomein Pasul Lechol HaTorah Kula. A zonim witness is disqualified for testimony associated with all areas of the Torah. Divrei Rabbi Meir. These are the words of Rav Meir, Rav Yossi Omer, Bameh Devarim Amurim. Now it says, in what case is this ruling said? That he is disqualified for testimony in all areas. Shehu Zam B'dinei Nefashot. Only if he was discredited through Chazmam in testimony given in capital cases. Aval Ruzain B'dinei Mamanot Kasher B'dinei Nefashot. But if he was discredited among Chazamam in testimony given in civil cases, he is eligible to testify in capital cases.
Okay, so what was the problem? The problem was we have a tradition of Rava and Abaye who are conflicting over who's a Rasha and who's not a Rasha. Rava and Abaye are Amoraim. They're Gemara level guys in history. Mm-hmm. We've been trying to argue them based on Baraitot, Tanaitic age, older age authorities who have authority over the Amoraim. So if it's just two Amoraim, one of them's right and one of them's wrong. And we'll prove that. So the solution, now that Abaye is on the hot seat, the solution is, but maybe the argument that Abaye and Rava are having is really kind of embodying a Tanaitic argument between two Tanaim of that older authoritative age. In which case we're okay with the fact that they have an argument, because two Tanas get to disagree with each other, because they're both authoritative. So we're going to go and we're going to take this tradition of the Eidim Zomamim, where Rabbi Meir says they're completely disqualified for everything in the Torah, and Rabbi Yossi says not so fast. If they were Eidim Zomamim in a capital case for death penalty, then they're disqualified. If they were Eidim Zomamim in a simple monetary case, they could still be kosher. All right? So now we're going to have to figure out why that would be. Why would Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi have this difference of opinion? All right? So let's say, Nema Abaye ka Rabbi Meir. Let's say Abaye, who said every Rasha of every category is not a kosher witness. Let's say he's channeling the opinion of Rabbi Meir, who said that once you're an Eid Zomem, you're disqualified for everything in the Torah. Do they sound similar? We could pretend that they sound similar. There's slight differences. Abaye doesn't say what kind of an Eid, what kind of a case. He doesn't say it's an Eid Zomem, right? And he talks about an individual. Rabbi Meir is talking in the plural, right? So there are differences that we could pick at, but for now, let's just say Abaye and Rabbi Meir are the same, and Rava would be Rabbi Yossi. Rava is the one who said, unless it had to do with money, he can still be kosher. The problem is here, it says, if it only has to do with money, then he's still
You
kosher.
put Mayor Yossi up there, maybe just so we.
Well, yeah, 2 weeks ago you had a chart.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we may switch, and I want to know which side they're on. So Abba and Mayor support each other, and Rava and
Because Abaye said any Rasha, and Meir said any Zomem. Okay? And Rava said money not kosher. Only the money guy is a Rasha. But Yossi said capital case never kosher. Right? Which doesn't seem to line up. Just to put him on the board like that. Abaye's Meir lines up a lot better than Rava like Yossi. You with me? Rava said if it's a monetary lie, he's a Rasha and he's not a kosher witness. Yossi said if it's a capital case, he's never believable. Right? But if it's a monetary case, he is. So we already see a problem, and the Gemara sees the same problem. So let's see how they deal with it. All right? So let us say that Abaye agrees with Rabbi Meir, who says that a person who commits, now we're going to go, a person who commits a less grievous sin is suspected to commit a more grievous one. All right? So if the person is an Eid Zomem in a money case, he could be an Eid Zomem in a capital case. So this logic seems to be if you lie about a small case, you lie about everything. Right? Some people only lie when it really matters. Some people lie all the time. Okay? So this logic is based on the idea that if you lie about small things, you lie about everything. Over here, the logic is if you lie about a big thing, you may not lie about everything. Okay? Two different logics about how people are. Right? So that's the first attempt to break this down. Does Abaye agree with Rabbi Meir and Rava with Rabbi Yossi? So Abaye is Rabbi Meir, who says that we say, De Amar Amrinan Mikula L'chumra. Someone who lies about little things lies about big things. And Rava, De Amar Rabbi Yossi, and we're going to say that Rava is like Rabbi Yossi, who says, Mechum L'kula Amrinan, that the person who lies about a grievous sin is suspected to commit a less grievous sin. Rava agrees with Rabbi Yossi, who maintains that we say that a person who has committed a more grievous sin is suspected to commit a less grievous sin. Did I do that, Bevan? Hang on. Who maintains that we say that a person who committed a less grievous sin is suspected to create a more grievous sin. So that's correct. And Rava agrees with Rabbi Yossi, who maintains that we say that a person who committed a more grievous sin is suspected to commit a less grievous sin, but we do not say that a person who commits a less grievous sin is suspected to create a more grievous sin. So if you lie a big thing,
It's,
they're talking out of both sides of the
yeah,
mouth.
they're talking. They're saying. Yeah, they let.
I see what they did.
He's saying it both directions, but you only need it in one to really deal with it.
Because the other part is they're talking about sinful to God but not to mankind.
Yeah,
So
we're not
if it's-
there yet.
Yeah,
We're not there yet.
Yeah, we're still just trying to get lesser versus greater
Okay.
sins.
So they both agree that if you lie about a big thing, you'll lie about anything,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't think that if you lie about a small thing, you'll lie about a big thing. Okay?
So that comes up the idea using capital cases versus monetary cases as your
Okay.
way of judging.
So, and they use and they do capital cases as a big thing and monetary cases as small
So at
things.
the bottom of column 1 then.
Okay, we're about to reject this anyway, so. The Gemara explains that both opinions in the Baraita might actually be Rabba's opinion and not Abaye at all. How? Lo. No. These two pieces of logic on the side is not exactly what you think. Aliba de Rabbi Yossi, Kule Alma Lo Plige. Everybody agrees with Rabbi Yossi. Right? And what's Rabbi Yossi? Rabbi Yossi was, if he's discredited in a money case, then what? Rabbi Yossi says, if he's discredited in a money case, ki plige de Rabbi Meir. Aliba de Rabbi Yossi, kule alma lo plige. According to Rabbi Yossi's opinion, everybody agrees. Everybody agrees what? And we're going to go back to the guy eating the treif, which is why I started with treif
He's
today.
eligible to testify.
Okay, because the guy eating the treif by himself is the lesser case. It only affects him. So that's the lesser case. And he was or was not able to testify. So he was eligible to testify.
Only on one of the only for buy but not
Mar Abaye Pasul and Rava Mar Kasher.
Rabbis kosher. Rabbis kosher.
So according to Rabbi Yossi, everyone agrees that whoever eats the unslaughtered meat out of defiance is eligible to testify. So Abaye cannot follow Yossi. So right, because Abaye says everybody is not eligible,
Right.
and everyone agrees that the guy who, according to Yossi,
The lesser.
the lesser person is not disqualified, so he could still qualify. So Yossi can't be Abaye. He plige aliba de Rabbi Meir, but when might Abaye and Rava disagree? They disagree on what the ruling would be according to Rabbi Meir. So Abaye and Rava are not arguing about Yossi. Abaye and Rava are arguing about Rabbi Meir. That's what they're going to say. Abaye ka Rabbi Meir, which is what we postulated at the beginning. Rava would say, Ad kan lo kama Rabbi Meir hatam ela gabe eid zomem de mamon. He would say that Rabbi Meir has stated his opinion there, that the one who committed the less grievous sin is suspected of committing a more grievous one, only regarding a zomem witness in a civil case. Derat l'shamayim v'ra l'briot, because he's sinful to God and mankind, which makes it a more severe case. Aval hacha here, where he's eating it just in defiance of the Torah himself, derat l'shamayim v'ein ra l'briot, is sinning against God but not to mankind, and he says Rabbi Meir in that case would say no. No, I don't prohibit him from testifying, and he would be a kosher witness. So even Rabbi Meir would agree he's not suspected of committing the far more grievous sin of testifying falsely. Okay, that would be Rava's response. Rabbi Meir would not apply to our case the way Abaye applies to our case. So Abaye cannot be like Rabbi Meir. Okay, Rabbi can't be like Yossi, Abaye can't be like Yossi, and in our case, Abaye would be wrong to apply Rabbi Meir, because there's this other logic. Vehilchata kavate de Abaye. and the halacha follows Abaye. That is not what we wanted to hear. Right? Va'itotav. But wait a minute, there was a tiyuvta. He was refuted. How could you say the halacha follows Abaye? Hahi Rabbi Yosihi. But the Baraita which was used to refute Abaye follows the opinion of Rabbi Yossi and is disputed by Rabbi Meir. So Abaye is no longer refuted since he finds support for his view in Rabbi Meir. Doesn't really work because we just undid Rabbi Meir according to Rava in the logic. So this isn't very tightly done. V'teheve nami Rabbi Yossi. But even granted the Baraita follows Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Meir v'Rabbi Yossi halacha ka Rabbi Yossi. There's a principle. When Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi fight each other, Rabbi Yossi gets the halacha. Rabbi Meir against anyone else, Rabbi Meir gets the halacha. Okay? So how can you say it's Rabbi Abaye if Abaye is following Rabbi Meir? Because Rabbi Meir doesn't win against Rabbi Yossi. And we have Shane Hatam de Stam Lan Tana ka Rabbi Meir. Here it is different because the Tana, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi writing the Mishnah, has elsewhere formulated this Mishnah in accordance with the view of Rabbi Meir. Right? So if he states a anonymous opinion, if Rabbi just says an opinion without a source, then the halacha rests with that opinion, even though in this case he did it according to Rabbi Meir. So the Stam Mishnah gets the halacha. And in this case, the Stam Mishnah happens to be in accordance with Rabbi Meir. So you don't have the principle of Meir versus Yossi. Yossi wins because the Rabbi Yehuda Nasi made the basic Mishnah here according to Rabbi Meir. Vehecha Stam Lan, really? Where did he form that basic Mishnah according to Rabbi Meir? And to answer that question, we need to tell you another story. Okay? So we've kind of escaped most of that, but we're more into Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi than Rav and Abaye at this point. All right? Bonnie, you want to read?
Just a question here. I mean, if someone makes false witness in a monetary case,
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't that person now have the obligation, whatever the financial case is, that would have gone against this person to have
Yes.
pay him? So it could be an expensive proposition.
Lying in
And he
court's
could-
not a good move. You have to
and-
pay, and you have to pay an extra fifth, and you can lose your ability to be a witness.
You usually be a witness, but also whatever this agreement about, it could be a large, say a home, or
Right.
you have to pay that value. It could be.
Yeah, the bigger the stakes, the bigger the stakes in the contract, the bigger the punishment for the lying witness.
Yeah. Okay, so just
If they discover that he's lying.
right.
you
If
know,
that,
so-
if you prove that someone was somewhere else and they said, I swear to this that I was here,
Right.
then they could prove that you were some, or you have witnesses now that you can be. Back to modern day, why is a camera not a we see things. Why and a camera see things, but we're saying cameras are not, according to Jewish law, acceptable, but only eyewitnesses. But you put a camera somewhere to see something for yourself. You see what I'm trying to get to? I'm trying to follow
Right.
that concept.
Can
a camera?
Can a digital recording of an event
Right.
have the same force as a human witness?
Mhm.
That would take a modern tshuva to write that.
Okay.
In biblical standards, the concept's not known.
Yeah, so you didn't know how to deal with that. But I guess using this type of logic, we really haven't come across that yet, I guess.
And I assume you're talking about security for.
Yeah, if you have security, you have a camera and you see something, and and the camera was put there, to make it monetary. The camera was put there to prevent people from stealing money from my cash register,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a camera to see it. And I could see, Yossi came and took the money from the cash register. It's right here on my video because I would not be able to stand there and watch it. I had this electronic rather than a person standing.
And does it matter if a person is watching the video live or if it's a recording?
Recording, yeah.
Does it matter?
I don't think it does.
Like a person watching an actual live,
Yeah.
watching it happen.
Yeah, it's a little
Is
bit.
that more human than just going back a
Checking
day later
a
and
day later and
looking
seeing
at
it.
all the tellers until you find the
Yeah.
person who stole it?
Yeah.
Obviously, a recording is a convincing piece of evidence.
Yes.
Halachically, does it rise to the level.
Of a witness.
Yeah, the question is, we're going to have a later Mishnah here in this chapter that's like, how do you adjure the witnesses? You're supposed to scare the bejesus out of the witnesses before you take their testimony. How do you do that with a camera?
But think of it this way: if it's only a camera, and you want to give it as a witness, it won't count because you need two witnesses. So you have to. So then you can say, well, if I had two cameras, two cameras would give me
Two
my
cameras would be
witnesses.
more helpful than one.
Because, but one witness is not
wait
enough.
Lahavdil, you watch football.
Yeah,
They have instant replay.
right.
How often do you see one angle in the instant replay where you
Right.
say, that was absolutely a touchdown?
Right.
And then you see another angle, you go, oh my God,
Right.
that is absolutely not a
Yeah,
touchdown.
That's a good
So,
point.
so a camera, you may think you see what you see,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean you're always seeing what you're seeing,
Mhm.
right? And so having a second camera angle would be helpful. I think certainly in a capital offense, I would want to have a human witness. And don't forget, in the rabbinic system, you not only have to have a witness, you have to have warned him.
Right.
So you have to have a human right before the murder say, murder is forbidden in the Torah. It's a capital offense.
Right.
Do you understand? And they're like, I understand it's forbidden in the Torah. It's a capital offense, and I'm going to kill him anyways.
So Mirandizing him before.
Correct. Right, so for capital cases, you need a tremendous amount of human involvement.
Yeah.
So I don't think you could convict somebody on a capital case
Yeah.
based on video footage, halachically.
Okay.
But I haven't read the chuvas on it. There must be modern chuvas.
Right.
All right,
Okay.
I'll-
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Ah,
I'll
go ahead.
I'll read the English. I can.
As in the story of Bar Chama. Go ahead.
As in the story of Bar Chama, who was alleged to have killed a person, the Reish Galusa, Exarch, said to Rav Abba Bar Yaakov, go out and investigate the matter. If the investigation shows that Bar Chama definitely killed, let him gouge out his eyes. Thereafter, two witnesses came forward and testified that he indeed definitely killed. Seeking to undermine the opposing testimony, he, Bar Chama, went out and brought two other witnesses who testified regarding one of the accusing witnesses. One of Bar Chama's witnesses said, in my presence, this witness stole a cob of shelled barley. And the other witness said, in my presence, he stole a spear handle. Sorry, stole a spear handle. Rav Abba Bar Yaakov said to Bar Chama, what is your intention in showing that the witness is a thief? To disqualify him for testimony in a capital case in accordance with Rav Meir, who maintains that someone who committed a less grievous sin is suspected to commit a more grievous sin. That it is to no avail, for in a dispute between Rav Meir and Rav Yossi, the halcha follows Rav Yossi, and Rav Yossi has said that a witness found to be a zomim in a civil case is eligible to testify in a capital case.
All right, so here we go. So there's a story where they tried to do this in Amoraic times, and the Reish Galuta says to Rav Abba of Yaakov, go and investigate. If Bar Chama has killed him, we're going to punish him. And the two witnesses came and testified that they saw him kill, but we disqualified by bringing two other witnesses to testify that this guy stole and the other guy stole stuff that's worth money. Okay, so by Rav Yossi and by Rav Meir, what would the halacha be as far as throwing their testimony out?
According to Rav Meir, they'd throw it out, but Rav Yossi, they'd keep it.
Okay, and the objection is, why would you bring such a case? Because you need the halacha to be like Rabbi Meir for that to work. Meir Yossi, Yossi wins. So they quote this principle. Go on.
But Rav Papi defended Bar Chama's approach. Rav Papi said to Rav Abba Bar Yaakov, not so, for this rule applies only where the Tana has not formulated the Mishnah text in accordance with the view of Rav Meir. But here, in this case, the Tana has formulated the Mishnah text in accordance with the view of Rav Meir.
There you go. So you can't do the Meir Yossi thing, because Meir is the actual endorsed Mishnah for Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. All right, now we're going to go further.
Gemara investigates the sources by citing and analyzing the Mishnah. From where do we see that the Tana follows Rav Meir? Perhaps you will say it is from that which we learned in the Mishnah. All who are fit to adjudicate capital cases are fit to adjudicate civil cases. Now, whose opinion is this? If you say it is Rav Yossi, that cannot be, for there is the case of a Zomim witness discredited in a civil case, who is eligible to adjudicate capital cases, yet ineligible to adjudicate civil cases. Rather, does it not follow Rav Meir, who maintains that a witness who is found a Zomim in a civil case is disqualified even for capital cases? Keep going.
Come on, let's try and figure it out.
Gemara refutes this source. But
No. Let's figure it out. You can't just read it.
Keep going.
We know how to pronounce words. We want to make sure we get the ideas.
Yeah.
All right, so Mimai. So we've been told a couple of times now that the Mishnah, some Mishnah, has been established according to the logic of Rabbi Meir by Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. And therefore, you can't say Meir versus Yossi, Yossi wins, because in this case, the Mishnah was deliberately made according to Rabbi Meir. So the general principle doesn't apply, and Rabbi Meir can win, because that was the whole point of the Mishnah. So now we have to figure out where in the Mishnah did that happen, that you can make that claim. So you have a Mishnah from Nidaf 49b that says the following. Kol ha'roi ladun dinei nafshot ra'oi ladun dinei manot. Everybody who can sit on a Beit Din in a capital case can also sit on a Beit Din in a monetary case. Who is that like? Up here, Meir or Yossi? Everybody on a capital case can be on a lesser case.
That would be Yossi. Lie about a small thing does not lie about a big thing.
Right, and that's the objection. Mani, really? If you say it's Rabbi Yossi, right? Ha'ika eid zomem de mamon. Not true. Because for Rabbi Yossi, you might have somebody who's lying about money, and therefore would not be eligible to sit in a capital case. Right? And ha'ika eid zomem de mamon. De kasher lidinei nafshashot, ufasul lidinei mamonot, and yet he's ineligible for the civil cases. Ella lav Rabbi Meir he. Rather, doesn't it have to be Rabbi Meir then? This Mishnah that says anybody who sits on a nefashot case is kosher for a minor case, because in that case, you're not kosher for the major case. So you wouldn't be on the major case. So the only people who are on the major case are the people who are also cleared at the minor cases. So wouldn't it have to be Rabbi Meir who follows that Mishnah? So that seems like a pretty good claim. That Mishnah seems to be according to Rabbi Meir, and it has to do with witnesses and stuff. Mimai, but it's going to get challenged. So how do you know that Mishnah is discussing disqualifications due to misdeed? There's nothing in that Mishnah that says that the person did something wrong. It just says who's kosher and who's pasul. It doesn't say they did anything wrong. So go on. Bonnie, back to you.
All right, the Gemara investigates the source for this by citing and analyzing the Mishnah. From where do we see that the Tana follows?
Where are you?
Oh, my.
Gemara refutes the source, isn't it?
Down
Oh,
at the
I'm supposed to
bottom.
go down, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Gemara refutes this source.
The Gemara refutes this source. But how do you know the Mishnah is discussing disqualifications due to misdeed? Perhaps the Mishnah is discussing only disqualifications based on blemished pedigree.
Okay, so this is Yochasin. So you're a mamzer, or you're the father of the litigant, or something like that. Okay?
And that surely is the truth, for if you do not say so, how do you explain the latter section of the Mishnah, which teaches there is one who is fit to adjudicate civil cases, yet not fit to adjudicate capital cases? Now, why is he not fit to adjudicate capital cases? If you say it is because he was found a zomem in a capital case, is he then fit to adjudicate civil cases as the Mishnah prescribes? But all agree that he is disqualified for civil cases. Rather, the Mishnah must be discussing disqualification based on pedigree, where someone of defective pedigree is unfit to adjudicate a capital case and yet fit to adjudicate a civil case. Then here too, in the first section of the Mishnah, it is discussing disqualification based on pedigree. Thus, there is no indication from here that the Mishnah follows Rav Meir.
Okay, so it's not about sin, it's about status. And you may have a status that qualifies you in monetary cases, but disqualifies you in capital cases. And that would be the difference. So it doesn't have to do with whether or not you're a Russian. So all the other stuff we've been talking about is irrelevant. So you can't prove it from here, because it's not relevant.
Okay, when you're talking about pedigree now, is it just
Yeah,
what Who are they referring to?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do they mean by that?
I'm trying to understand a little bit more on
So here's the
what
problem.
to say about that.
Whenever you learn Gemara, Gemara assumes that you have already learned all Gemara.
Right, that you already know what
So 9 pages from now, they are going to explore the question of pedigree with judges, and that judges need to be purebred people in a lot of ways.
Right.
Their pedigree has to be a judge in a capital case. The judge has to be like impeccable pedigree. His training was right. He was trained by the right rabbi, who was trained by the right rabbi, and he's free of sin, taught and born of people who are free of sin. It's going to do all the the pedigree of this person on a capital case has to be impeccable. If you're going for a parking ticket, you don't need a Supreme Court justice, right? The local town judge is fine. He might be, not perfect, but he's good enough, right? So that's what they're talking about.
Because initially I thought you were bringing up that we had earlier about if a father.
If your
or
father, I
son-
accept your father,
but
that
not-
could be part of it.
But
But this,
it doesn't seem because they're talking about the pedigree being, not a very good pedigree,
Right.
disqualifying pedigree. So it doesn't seem like they're talking about father and son or relatives in this case. It's just
okay. I mean, it could be. So in footnote 6, you hear down below it says the judges in capital cases must be of pure pedigree. Judges in civil cases may be of impure pedigree, like a mamzer or a ger, right? So I could sit on a monetary beit din, but maybe I shouldn't sit on a capital case beit din because I don't have a pure pedigree, right? We can argue whether we believe that or not, but that's what they're saying. Okay, moving on. Ella hachika stam lantana. So, all right. So what are we trying to prove? We had this idea that Meir and Yossi, somebody quoted the Meir and Yossi argument about somebody stealing a spear handle, and then we defended that approach because the Tana says the Mishnah is like Rabbi Meir, so you can use Rabbi Meir without having Yossi defeat him. And then we tried to prove that it was from one case, but we refuted that because we said that case isn't talking about money or not money, or Rabbi Meir's concerns. It's talking about pedigree. So we need to find another basis upon which the Mishnah was according to Rabbi Meir. So we're still trying to find a Mishnah that establishes Mishnah according to Rabbi Meir, which otherwise Yossi is going to win, which we don't want. Right? And we need all of this because Abaye seemed to go with Rabbi Meir, and after Abaye had been refuted, we nevertheless had a statement that the halacha is like Abaye. So we need to save Rabbi Meir. And the only way to save Rabbi Meir is to make him the ace of spades. He's the Mishnah. So we're trying to prove he's the Mishnah. Just now we did not prove he's the Mishnah. We need another way to prove he's the Mishnah. Gemara cites a different source. Go on.
Right, rather, here is where the Tana formulated the Mishnah text in accordance with Rav Meir. As we have learned in a Mishnah, these are the ones ineligible to be witnesses. One who plays dice.
Thank God. It's a Mishnah we know.
you know that one.
Those who loan on interest, pigeon flyers, shavias merchants, and slaves. This is the rule. Any testimony for which a woman is ineligible,
Ooh.
they too are ineligible
Did
for
we
it.
have slaves before?
No, we did not.
I didn't remember slaves. Of course, women wouldn't have either.
Now, whose opinion does this Mishnah follow? If you say it is Rav Yossi's, that cannot be, for there is testimony in a capital case for which a woman is not eligible, yet these individuals are eligible for it. Rather, does it not follow Rav Meir, who maintains that a witness discredited in a civil case is disqualified even for capital cases?
Okay. So the source of this Mishnah, which begins absolutely identical to our Mishnah and then digresses, is from Masechet Rosh Hashanah. Right? Testimony regarding the new moon and so forth. So these are the ones who are ineligible to testify: the Mesachek B'Kubiyah, the Malvei B'Ribit, Mafrichei Yonim, Sochrei Shvit, and slaves, Avadim. Okay? That's Hebrew slaves. So those people are not allowed to be witnesses. Zehaklal, this is a general rule. Any witness that a woman cannot give right? These two, af hen en kesherin la. So all of these people who we've declared in Sanhedrin are not kosher witnesses. In Rosh Hashanah, they are kosher witnesses if it's a topic a woman can give testimony on. So you don't make the woman more believable than these people. These people are as believable as a woman.
If it was a Hebrew slave, that would mean that he must have gotten into monetary problems, and that's why.
Presumably, he'd
I
be
think that
a
was the way
news.
that became a slave.
Yeah, he sells his labor.
He sells his labor, and so that's the only way for.
So some of
Jewish
these
person
people
to
are
be a slave.
sinners. All of these people are sinning with money.
Except the woman.
But the woman's not on the list. The general principle is we're going to make an analogy for them. All these people are kosher for anything a woman could testify for. A thing a woman can't testify for, that's when these people are not kosher, which is completely contrary to the sweep of everything we've been reading in Tractate Sanhedrin. These people are not kosher because there's some kind of rasha, right? But that Rosh Hashanah seems to treat it differently. So you can't say that it's Rabbi Yossi in that case. Ve'ika edut bi dinei nefashot she'en ha'isha keshera la de'en kesherin la. So if you say it's Rabbi Yossi for this testimony in this capital case for which a woman is not eligible, yet these individuals are eligible, doesn't work. So Ella lav Rabbi Meir he. So doesn't it follow Rabbi Meir, who maintains that a witness discredited in a civil case can still be kosher for a capital case? Right? So not a hit the ball out of the park proof by any means, but they're trying to affirm something they already know. Right? They're trying to affirm something that they already know.
And Bar Chama got away with murder.
Rav Papi has now showed that the Mishnah, and therefore the Halakha, in fact follows Rabbi Meir. Accordingly, the witness who testified against Bar Chama was disqualified, and Bar Chama was acquitted. He got away with murder. Now, Kam Bar Chama. Let's just see how long the next section. Oh, let's do it. All right, because we're going to finish right here. So, Kam Bar Chama. So Bar Chama got up now that he's gotten away with murder, and Nashke Akare, he kissed Rav Papi on the foot. V'kable lecharge dechule shenei, and he took upon himself his head tax for the rest of his years. He paid his taxes. So he's so happy with Rav Papi, he paid his taxes for the rest of his life.
That sounds weird. Must have been a big case. Well, it was a capital case, isn't that right?
Well, look at footnote 11. So this did not constitute a form of belated bribery because, as a scholar, Rav Papi was in any case exempted from this particular
We
tax.
don't have 11.
We don't have.
It's cut off, right? So obviously, if somebody rules in your favor and acquits you,
Yeah.
the concept that you could set them up for life free of taxes afterwards would be an ethical problem,
Yeah.
right?
It doesn't, you said it
So-
doesn't constitute
So it
bribery.
takes about, well, to get to the Rosh, you're in the 1200s. So it takes about 5 centuries for someone to come up with the brilliant solution to that problem, which is, no, Rav Papi is a Torah scholar. He didn't have to pay that tax. So the guy wasn't really paying a tax for him. There was no tax to be paid. So there's no bribery, which is contrary to the whole point of this.
Well, yeah. I mean,
story.
there you go.
Okay, we're going to read the Mishnah and then stop, and we'll continue next time. So congratulations. All of that, when did we start this class? Like November or something? October? We just finished one Mishnah. Is that correct? We haven't done a second Mishnah, have we?
Chapter 3.
If you go back, it's this is all Misachek B'Kubia? Oh no, we did the bit about the father too.
Yeah.
All right, on to another Mishnah. Here we go. This is going to be the source text for the fathers and the brothers. The Mishnah now enumerates which relatives of a person are disqualified from testifying or serving as judges in matters concerning him. Okay, so Elohena Krovim, these are the relatives that cannot be a judge or a witness in your case. Achiv ve'achi aviv ve'achi imo, his brother, his paternal uncle, and his maternal uncle. Uval achoto, uval achot aviv, uval achot imo. His brother-in-law, his father's brother-in-law, his mother's brother-in-law. Those are by their sisters. Uval imo v'chama v'giso, his mother's husband, that's his stepfather, his father-in-law, and his brother-in-law. Hen uvenehem v'chatanehem, they and their sons and sons-in-laws. V'chorgo levado, and his stepson alone is disqualified, but not the stepson's son or son-in-law and all that. And Amar Rabbi Yossi, Ze Mishnat Rabbi Akiva. This is the teaching of Rabbi Akiva. Aval Mishnah Rishona Dodo Uvein Dodo V'chol HaRaui LeYorasho. But an earlier Mishnah said his uncle, his uncle's son, and all who are eligible to inherit from him. V'chol HaKarov Lo Be'ota Shah, all who are related to him at that time, the time of the testifying. Haya Karov V'nitrachek Harei Ze Kasher. If he was related and then became unrelated, he is eligible. Okay, so if he was related but became unrelated before the testimony took place, the thing took place, then the person is kosher. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says, Afilu meta bito v'yesh lo banim mimena harei ze karov. Even if one's daughter died, but his son-in-law has children from her, he is still a relative for these purposes. Because he's not married to the man's daughter anymore, so you'd say he's not my relative anymore. But he still has kids by her, so he's the parent of my grandchildren, who are my relatives, and he's still out. Ha-ohev v'ha-soneh. Somebody who is really your close friend or your dire enemy are also not allowed to be judges. Ohev ze shoshvino. A friend is your groomsman, someone in your wedding party. Soneh kol shelo diber imo shlosha yamim be'eva. Anybody who hasn't spoken to you for 3 years out of anger.
3 days.
3 days? Oh, yamim, you're right. 3 days out of anger is your enemy. Amrulo, they said to him, Lo nech shedu Yisrael al kach. What Jewish people would ever behave that way? Could never be. All right, we'll stop there. That's the Mishnah.
So your uncles and your cousins